hustle.
I just started it.
Okay.
No, I just started it. Okay.
Okay, babe.
Folks are coming in. I'm gonna give folks a chance to get in. And while that's happening, I'm gonna quickly post it on Facebook right quick.
I also have a speaker because I can't hardly hear.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
How is this recording?
Okay. All right. So, hold on one second. The fight to convict and book. And then we're going live. Okay, so that's happening. And I'm gonna try to monitor that at the same time, but we are officially live. Like I said, Roland is also going to be sharing it on his live stream at the same time, which I thought was really cool. I appreciate him offering to do that. But yeah, we have folks are logging in. So folks will be watching this on Facebook. They'll watch it after it's over. They'll, people will watch it now. Some people will watch it later. Miss Joyce disappeared again. I don't know where. There you are. Oh, you disappeared again.
Jasmine, can you speak up? Your volume is still low.
Oh, it is? I don't know
why. I can barely hear you.
Okay. Can everybody else hear me? All right, hold on. I might have to put my earbuds on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Can you all see me now?
Yes, we can see you.
Can you
This
hear me?
This is the start of every single Zoom conversation. It is always, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, I am just trying to connect my AirPods because you said you couldn't hear me, and I'm gonna try to see if that makes a difference. But in the meantime, I don't know why. Yeah, I'm trying to do that, and then we're gonna start. Okay, let me see if that works. It doesn't want to open for me. I don't know. Oh, here it is. Okay. Connect. I know this is so. It's trying to connect to my AirPods right now, and then once that happens, we should be good to go. Other than that, hopefully everybody can hear me. Okay, good. So my name is Jasmyne Cannick for folks who are watching. I wanted to put this conversation together because there was a New York Times article that came out yesterday that has taken some of us aback and shocked some of us. And I wanted to give a platform and create a space for the people who are most impacted by Ed Buck and his, what he has done, which is basically what he killed Gemmel Moore and Timothy Dean. And I wanted to give the people who are most impacted by all of that and this article an opportunity to speak. And so I sort of hastily, we put this together. And it's amazing because this is the 1-year anniversary of Ed Buck's arrest. It was a year ago today, later on in the evening, but it was a year ago today. And as a lot of you all know, and we're going to talk about it too, he might possibly be free next week on bail. So I want to introduce, some of you guys already know Miss LaTisha Nixon. She's Gemmel Moore's mother. Hey, Miss Nixon.
Hi.
And Miss Joann Campbell.
Hi. Hi.
and Miss Joyce Jackson. They
Hi.
are Timothy Dean's sisters. Hey. Yes, you guys have full Black womanness this evening. This is a Black woman's conversation, and it will be handled like a Black woman's conversation, frank and to the point. Attorney Nana Gyamfi, another Black woman, will also be joining us shortly. She's finishing up a meeting and then she's going to jump on here. But take it away, ladies. You know, because this is the other reason why I have this. I don't want people to think I'm speaking for you. You know, so for some reason that article came off as like I'm like being super bossy and controlling, and I don't let you guys speak, and I hold on to shit. No. You know what I'm saying? This is the reason why people don't want to talk to the media, because shit like this happens. So y'all tell them how you feel about that article.
Well, let me clear that up, because we all agreed that we want you to be the spokesperson for us. We appointed you because we don't trust the media, but we all trust you. So let's clear that up now.
Yeah.
And I apologize, you weren't on the call when we were doing our check-in, but I will do it publicly now. I do apologize because I had no idea that this article, I would have never asked you to participate in an article that was gonna be this bad. Like I thought it was the New York Times. It could reach a lot of people. It would help further our cause just in terms of getting justice for both of your families and the rest of Ed Buck's victims. But at least to me, that's not how the article came off. That's not how the article came off to me.
No,
and I know, yeah, and I know because I've heard from all of you how you feel about it as well. I can just tell you from my personal point of view, I did not like the way I was characterized in that article. Two things that stand out to me that really bothered me. One was the white privilege that Jesse took in terms of, you know, he asked to see people don't understand. I hold on to Jamel's notebook because I have permission to hold on to Jamel's notebook.
Yeah.
And we never published all of the pages of Jamel's notebook because there are things in there that are personal and private to him and to his family. The only thing we've ever published were the pages that Ms. Nixon gave us permission to publish. And so Jesse wanted to see it. And he said he had to see it for his article. And I said, okay. So he came over to the office. I let him see it. Never would I have guessed in a million years that he would take the privilege upon himself to read pages from it as I'm trying to flip through it to get to the pages that I know he has permission to read. I just thought that showed a lack of respect for me. I felt that showed a lack of respect for Ms. Nixon and Jamel's family, as well as Jamel, that you would do that and then publish it in the newspaper that you did it. Like it's no big thing. Like, oh, this is great. People are gonna, you know, they're gonna really think that this, you know, that he was really trying to work, you know, and get things together in his life. That was private, and he shouldn't have. It's one thing to read it. It's another without permission. It's another thing to then publish it, right? And then I also didn't like in the article that he made it seem like we didn't know what we were talking about, specifically me. Ed Buck is a major donor. Let me make that crystal clear. Ed Buck has given over $500,000 to politicians in Los Angeles and California and beyond, including politicians in DC, politicians in Arizona. He is considered a major donor. And I do not like the way that is played down in that article as if we're saying it, but that's not really the case. That most absolutely is the case. That is his claim to fame. He uses his money. He used his money for power and access and privilege, point blank.
Yeah.
So, I mean, where else can we go in this that was incorrect in this article?
Yeah, basically, I just did not like the way he depicted my brother, you know, as a porn actor. My brother was much more than what he depicted, and I'm not sure where he got all of his information from, but he was much more than the way he described him. He was a wonderful brother, a loving brother. He had a career in retail. You know, he might have did some things in his past that he wasn't, you know, proud of, but that was not who he was. And he's deserved to be alive here with us and not be dead at Ed Buck's account. So I just wished he would have reached out to some, you know, family members before just, you know, describing my brother as this and, you know, basically his opinion, and not reach out to us. So, and it was like, the article was just basically, where did he get his insight from, his information? I like to know that, because a lot of it to me was not accurate. So it was misleading, and just a lot of, to me, it was his opinion on, you know, on how everything went down. So those are some of the issues I had with the article.
Agreed.
Well,
You know, go ahead. I'm sorry, Joyce.
that's okay. I read the article. I'm the last one to read the article because Joann had sent me, I think, a text, or I think she called me, and I was in the process of doing something, but I didn't read it right then. But then what she indicated, I began to get flustered. So I said, well, I'm going to wait a minute before I read it. I actually took the opportunity to read it this morning. And as I read it, all the feelings and emotions began to just rise up in me. And I remember when, I don't know who the guy was that came to Orlando that wanted to meet with us. And I did send a text message to Jasmine, because I don't know these people, and I don't trust a lot of people. That's just the bottom line. And I'm beginning to feel kind of eerie about some of the people that Tim called friends based on some of the things that I read, because he had to speak to someone. I do know that this individual spoke to Walter. What happened? Okay.
We can hear you.
I know he spoke to Walter. I know he spoke to Alex. I don't know if he spoke to Mark or not, but my whole scenario about this article, to me, it was just despicable. It was disgraceful, distasteful. It was just devastating to me. And I told him just how I felt. And I felt that, you know, he was trash. Because if you're going to write something that is true, make sure that you have all the facts. So whatever my brother decided to do when he was in LA, when he came to Florida, he was a total different person. When I came to LA to see him, I never saw none of these things that was in this article. And whatever he chose to do, he's fully grown. He can do that. But the kind of person that he was, he should have been able to put in that article the real person too. So whatever he did in his past, he should have also had insight from someone that knows him. Exactly. So that he could have had that article in depth. I mean, none of us are perfect. However, what you're not going to do is write an article and think it's okay with me, and I'm not going to blast your ass, because I am. Because that's my brother. That's my baby brother.
Oh, that's right.
And he should be here now. So I thank God that I didn't talk to this guy that was in Orlando. I know Alex was calling me and Mark was calling me. He really wants to meet you and Joann and Tony. But my spirit kept telling me, I don't know these people because Mark and Alex know them. I don't want to talk to these people. You know, so that's why I went to Jasmine. And I looked to Jasmine for guidance when these outsiders are coming in, because sometimes I feel that they feel that we're vulnerable and that we'll just open up. I'm not like that. I can be as hardcore as I want to. And it really upset me after I read that. And I actually had to stop. So I have not read the complete article. I have read enough, and I was just fed up.
I agree. I think they need to understand that this is way more than an article. These are our loved ones.
That's
this
it.
Is you guys' brother. This is my damn child.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't You know, no, they didn't even interview us properly. I got a phone call, and all he asked was questions and asked me to verify certain things. But not once did I get to tell my side while he asked these people, you know, their side of the story or whatever. And then it was certain parts that I was like, wow, you know, I couldn't believe it. I was pissed off. I did return to work 3 days after my son died because I needed to stay busy. That don't mean I don't care. I don't mean I don't love my son. I was going
absolutely.
fucking nuts.
That's
I was
crazy.
over here. I was crazy, you know. But I was in denial. I kept saying everybody is wrong. They, you know, watch them call me. Watch, you know, it's somebody else. Somebody got my baby ID. It's not him. But I had to do something. So for him to say I was talking to Ryan and I said, hold on, I'm talking to a customer like I'm a heartless mom. No, I'm not a heartless mom, because the whole reason for me coming forward was because I did not want any more Gemmels. And I've said that from day one. If anybody knew my son, they knew he was very private, very private. I struggled for days before I said anything. And I just kept thinking, oh my God, it's going to, you know, this guy is not going to stop. When I talked to Gemmel's friends and they were telling me stuff, I said, oh my God. So I did what any mother would do. I just blasted his ass because I'm not going to keep quiet. You know, it's a lot of things that are embarrassing, but guess what? I'm going to save my son community. I don't give a damn. That's my son, and I don't want no other mother to feel the way that I feel.
Absolutely.
We warned and we
Absolutely.
warned him and we warned him. He was still doing the same thing. If they would have listened to us, Timothy Dean would still be alive.
That's
Yep.
right.
We said that from
Absolutely.
day one.
Yeah.
So
And I
I
believe that. I believe that.
it was hard
And that's
coming
what I'm
forward,
really
but we did. And I don't regret anything. I don't regret. If I had to do it all over again, I would have did it. I just wouldn't talk to these white reporters because they don't need to tell our stories. We
No.
need to have the black reporters like Jasmyne who fact checks. Jasmyne has fact checked. Jasmyne has got people's stories. Jasmyne has got the truth. And I love you for that, Jasmyne. I love you for that. I love you for that. So
You
since
know,
this is recorded, don't nobody call me. Don't inbox me. Don't ask me nothing. Do not. I ain't doing nothing. Ask Jasmyne. I don't want to talk because I don't trust none of y'all motherfuckers. That part.
you know, one of the things, and the reason why I was looking to the side because Nana's trying to log on, right? So I'm trying to get her in there because this conversation will not be complete without the illustrious Miss Nana Gyamfi, right?
Sorry, mama.
So we're trying to get her in here. But one of the things that was really, I don't know, that kind of bothered me with the amount of play they gave Ryan. I remember how upset you were when that article came out, when the Daily Mail article came out, when a couple of other articles came out that just consistently and constantly referred to Gemmel as a prostitute. In the beginning, people who don't know about this story, in the beginning, it was nothing but clickbait for a lot of these websites. There was nothing humanizing about Gemmel Moore. It was literally clickbait for websites and it still is for certain websites. I see a couple of them have logged on here and are watching this now. I can guarantee you within 10 minutes of this ending, we'll be up on their website with some salacious headline. Black women angry about something, because that's how they are. And I mean, there are some good things I can say about the article too. I mean, I will say that I'm very happy that Jesse mentioned the role that Dennis played in connecting you and me, because I feel like Dennis is an unsung hero in all of this, right? Because I would not even know you, Ms. Nixon, had Dennis not reached out to me and asked me to to talk to you and you were trying to get, what were you trying to get from the sheriff's department? It was something, you remember you were trying to get a report, like the police report or something from the sheriff's department. I think that's when we first started talking.
Yeah.
And that was because of Dennis. I think that he seriously underrepresented the amount of work that we all have done, particularly Black women in this story. And there are many, many Black women, more Black women than you're seeing on your screen right now, that played a role in making sure that Ed Buck got behind bars. And I think that was seriously downplayed and actually just overlooked in that article. Like I said, I feel like I came off as like some overbearing, like, I don't know. I didn't like the way I came off. All I know, my friend said the picture is hot, the picture is great, you look good, but everything else,
the picture is nice.
Thank you. But everything else, I'm like, like, you know, that
I agree.
The way I'm characterized, and then I have to remind myself of this, right? And as Black women, tell me, I don't know if you experience this too, we are always going to be misread. We are always going to be the angry Black women. We are always going to be Black women who have we always have an attitude problem and this and that. And people need to understand, these are the reasons why. These are the reasons why we're suspicious and we have our hands on our hip and we're like, you know, this is why.
Exactly.
You know?
That's why
okay,
I always tried to be.
I'm gonna get Nana in here. I'm gonna get over here and get Nana into this meeting. You guys go ahead. No, you guys talk without me. I'm listening, but I'm gonna get Nana in this meeting.
I was saying this is the reason why I always treaded lightly and really didn't try to say too much, try to be quiet, because I never wanted to be represented as an angry Black woman. But you know what? I am angry. And I'm hella Black, but I am angry. I'm angry, you know. But one thing I can say about us is, you know, we did everything in a peaceful way. We did everything in a peaceful way. So they can say whatever they want to say about us because we showed people how to get results done, you know, without violence, without, you know, all of that other stuff. But we've been misrepresented. And I just, that article was just, it was trash. I felt I should have been interviewed to tell my truth. I feel that my sisters, Joann and Joyce.
He did talk to you though. I'm surprised that that's all he took from your conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. It's just, I don't know. And I guess what hurts and bothers me the most too is that this is the New York fucking Times, okay? Do you know how many people are about to read this on Sunday?
Oh yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. Well, I am angry, and I am a Black woman, and it's okay to be angry. There's a reason for being angry. But I mean, this just can't be just put under the rug, you know, and not be addressed. So I just have a lot of distrust in people in general.
Well, me too. And let me tell you, this is why I love Roland Martin. This is why I love the LA Sentinel and all my Black newspapers and the Black press and the NABJ, particularly those Black journalists who are independent, freelance, or write for Black newspapers, because we come and tell our stories and we humanize people and we keep it real. You know, for what it's worth, you know, the New York Times, even the LA Times, you know, people, Nana, there she is. Look at those gorgeous her red glasses on, so beautiful. Look at you, Nana. Had to make me stop mid-sentence. You are gorgeous. Look at you.
You are ridiculous.
Hi, Nana.
How are you all?
Hey, Nana. Now the conversation gets started.
Yes.
Lord goodness.
Yes, you are the star.
Good to see you all. I was running. I told Jasmine, I know I've got to run from one meeting to the other. You know, they're running, giving folks hysterectomies and immigration detention cages in Georgia, and they're not mentioning Black people at all. And you know, Black women are in there, you know, but similarly, when folks are unconcerned about you and don't really think of you as human, you know what I mean? Thank goodness for the Black nurse, honey. Miss
Yes, absolutely. Such courage.
Hallelujah, yes.
And we got to put a cover over her because we know the police will not bother Ed Buck, but they will be on her. ICE will be on her.
Right.
And you
for
know
sure.
This.
For sure.
So thank you, sisters, for the warm welcome, and I'm hoping to get some energy in some folks that are paying attention and that are watching so that they can keep the fires burning for Gemmel, Timothy, and all of the folks that Ed Buck has harmed, including those that love, you know, family members, loved ones, community members. Yeah. This is not just, you know, the five of us sitting here on this Zoom, right? There's so many, you know, visually, you know, there's so many other folks who have really been hurt by what's happened or what he did, and also have felt really empowered and uplifted by what they've seen the community and the family, you know, you sisters in particular, do. And so glad to be joining the family here.
Thank you.
Well,
I appreciate it.
Since you popped in here, Nana, you know, you were the first one to call me about this article, and I don't know how long we stayed on the phone that night. It was an intense conversation. So, what did you think about that New York Times article?
I don't know.
And you can say whatever you want.
There's a term that the young children use, the young people, and I used to not like that term because I was like, how could you say that about something? But it's trash. Trash was the term. Trash.
Oh yeah, I use that today.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't like unexpected in the sense that it's just this is why we have to be in places. This is why we have to tell our own stories. This is why we have to support our storytellers, because there's other people who want to tell that story. It's not, you know, sometimes when we see non-Black people, in particular white folks, do something and we didn't do it, we're like, oh, how come we're not telling the story? We blame ourselves for not telling our own story, right? But the reality is that, you know, let's look and see how many Black writers they have at that paper. And you know full well if those Black writers had gone and said, hey, I want to write this story, they would have told them, no one cares about that, next. Yeah. And when you look at Black journalists, Black papers, they're struggling to hold on. You know what I mean? They
that's true.
Don't have the resources to be able to pursue some of these stories and to chase.
Because they don't get the advertising dollars. So let's be specifically clear about why they don't have those resources. It is because as much as our buying power keeps this country going, it has never been enough to get major corporations to put a significant investment within the Black press, right? So our newspapers, our websites, they end up struggling because they don't get the kind of ad dollars that the LA Times gets and the New York Times gets and ABC and NBC and on and on.
Exactly, and on and on. So what ends up happening is that people outside our community that don't understand our community then end up doing these stories. And that's what you can see here. It's like, what is the point of all of these words that you put on this page? At the end of a story, I want to be able to at least know what you're doing, like what the point of the story. I may not agree with it, but I at least want to know what it is. And I felt like here in this effort to clearly chase somebody's Pulitzer in journalism or something, he was trying to tell all the stories at the same time, right? And the story that he missed in this effort, and I'm saying missed because I'm giving him some grace and not saying it's intentional, in this effort to cover everything, is not the story of the humanity of Gemmel, the humanity of Tim, the humanity of Ed Buck's victims. We
Right.
see at Buck's humanity, right? And then the
Very
second thing is just the erasure of Black women. You know, it's like, how do I look? And at the 4th page is where I see Jasmyne Cannick. I don't understand that. This story is a story because of Jasmyne Cannick. How does it take so long? Why do I have to go, you know, past that to see Ms. Nixon in a position other than like desperate, right? I don't know a desperate Miss Nixon. I know a strong Miss Nixon. I know a in your face, ready to go Miss Nixon. I know, right? And that doesn't mean that people are not sad, hurt, in need of support, right? But the energy is like the energy of like a frantic person. I don't, you know, Tim's folks, you weren't in there at all.
No, absolutely not. So it's like,
but they asked for photos from them, so I thought that they were in there.
I didn't see any.
He never asked me for photos. He asked for photos of Gemmel. That's what he asked. So
yeah, he asked for photos.
Of Gemmel.
Right, absolutely. Of Tim. He never asked for photos of us, but and we did supply him with photos of our brother. And then I was kind of taken aback with that too, because I did email photos to him, just a couple, and I never got a thank you until the day before he was gonna post the article. He goes, "Thanks for the photos, but I won't be using those photos in this article, maybe another one." I was like, okay. Yeah, it was just, the whole thing was kind of, because I was pissed because I sent you something, at least you acknowledge that you got the photos and a thank you. It's just that simple and just decency. So I was really pissed. I was like, you know, I sent these photos like 3 weeks ago. I've never got a thank you or an acknowledgement that he had received the photos. And then on Tuesday morning, I get an email saying, "Oh, thank you for the photos. They won't be used in this article, maybe the next article." And I was like, really? So I just replied, okay, because that pissed me off as well.
Right. Yeah. I can imagine.
On the photos thing, something else that has deeply bothered me is, why isn't Nana's photo in there? If you're going to put big fat ass Christopher Darden's photo in there, you damn sure could put, what?
Do not call man fat. You don't need to start
can't lie.
You're gonna put Christopher. If you go, he represented Ed Buck. If you're gonna put big fat ass Christopher Darden's photo in there, you damn sure could have put my beautiful ass, been with us since day one.
Yes.
Nana Gyamfi, who fought for immunity for Ed Buck's victims, who did file all these lawsuits, who has done all of this work. Ed Buck,
sister.
Darden's ass just got on this case. What, a couple of months ago? Okay, a couple of and the only thing is because he's got that OJ shine. He's got that name from the well, what about the fact that he tried to represent Nipsey Hussle's killer and then had to drop that case because he was getting too many death threats? All that glitters ain't gold. He is not all that. And if you're gonna put one attorney in from the other side, you should have put the other attorney in as well, which goes back to Nana's original comment of the erasure of Black women from this situation.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think he just realized that it would be all too much to not have Jasmine's picture in there. He might not have put that in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, just the way that that really bothered me. And I thank you for, you know, I hate pictures anyway, so it probably would have been a big drama, but I thank you for raising that. But it is interesting to me. It's like, okay, even in terms of description, you're going all into this thing about Darden and what he feels about the case and what he feels about this and that. And it's like, strangely, maybe the prosecutors went and talked to you, but you talked to me. You took over an hour of my time sitting down at someone's coffee shop, asking me all these questions because you also knew that I had worked on the Grim Sleeper cases out here with Lonnie Franklin. And so he knew that I had an angle. You know what I mean? He knew that I had a thing. Okay. And so why talk to me all of that time if you don't put anything, the angles, the pieces that we talked about in terms of looking at Black people, looking at this conversation about the dehumanization of Black people, right? How the sheriffs like when people came to tell, sent people away, how the sheriffs would go there and act as Ed Buck's personal bouncer, how as they were taking Jamel's body out, peace be unto him, that another dude walked up and, another brother walked up and they just let that brother go and didn't have anything to say to him. Like, I talked about all of that with this dude, and he did not mention any of those pieces in here. Thank God for Gina. And, maybe he was attracted to her. Gia. Maybe he was attracted to her or something, because he gave her at least some space, and thank God for it, because it gave some humanity.
Right.
Yeah.
It
did.
My issue with Gia is, where has she been? If she's his mother, where has she been? She should have been at these protests. She should have been at all of that. So I sent a message to her, because I didn't like that. Even though, she's a beautiful Black woman, in the Times magazine. But sister, you saying you Jamel's mother, and I don't have an issue with that, because Jamel got a daddy, Marcus, only daddy I'm gonna acknowledge. You should have been at them protests, sister. She should have been holding a sign. She should have showed up. So if a mother's nurturing, a mother's caring, a mother gonna protect her child. Somebody mess with your kid, you're coming. So that's the only issue that I had with her. I seen her at the funeral and I haven't heard. I'm a little upset about that. Since we having this conversation, let's have this conversation.
Well, hopefully Gia will respond. I see Gia around town. Gia is really well known here in our community. Gia does a lot of great work, a lot of community service. And I think if you send a message to Gia, Gia's gonna reach back to you. She's a good woman. She's gonna reach back to you. I think
it's no attack. I'm not attacking her.
No. I know.
I just wish that if she did the article and she's saying she's his mother, I knew about the House of Gershon. I was, happy he did his thing. I appreciate them taking him in. But my thing is, if you're his mother and you love him, baby, you should have been there with me. We went to court. We stood out inside of Ed Buck's house. We did all kind of stuff. So, sweetie, you should have been on the phone as a mother with me. I'm his mother. You can be his mother. I don't have an issue with that. But if you his mother, be his mother. That's all I'm saying. So it kind of upset me, because I knew I seen Gia at the funeral. She did come to the funeral and she danced, she donated. They gave a nice amount of money. I'm appreciative of that. But I'm just saying, people need to come show up. Sign these petitions, come show up. Don't just be in the LA Times magazine and you haven't reached out to me. We don't know who you are, sweetie. Come and stand with us. This is for my son's community. That's the reason why I came forward, to protect my son's community. I don't want no more Black gay men to die at the hands of Ed Buck or others like Ed Buck. That was the whole purpose. I care about my son's community, because I can say it's some beautiful people in my baby community. Beautiful, treated me good. Treated me so good. So it's no attack to her. So if she sees this, I'm not attacking. It's never too late. Come on, baby. Come stand with me. Call me. Come. I'll come. I expect for you to show up in court, Gia. I expect to see you, baby. Call me and reach out. I will
also hit Jeff. I think one of the things that, and I think Nana, you can attest to this too, is that a lot of people who are with us in the beginning ain't with us today, simply because this is a marathon and not a sprint.
Yeah,
and that there is a lot of work that goes into what has, and all of the things that we've been able to accomplish, none of it happened overnight, right? It was just being consistent and continuing it. I mean, there were probably times that I got on Nana's everlasting fucking nerves.
You never get on my nerves.
Her texting.
That never happened. How can that happen?
Did you get this in? Do we have to go to court? Like, it just, it, like I said, there are people that were with us in the beginning that, you know, that just aren't with us today, which doesn't mean that they can't come back and be with us. But,
Right.
you know, we were always clear from day one that this was never going to be an easy process, right?
Right.
This has never been an easy fight whatsoever. And I just want to acknowledge that I see people have their hands up, right? So I'm going to try and take your questions. If anybody
Ooh, you
goes
better make
left,
him put it down.
if anybody goes left and goes crazy, I will just simply mute your ass and kick you the fuck out. I'm gonna keep it real, because this is not what this conversation is about, right? So come respectful and come correct with your questions. And I also there was something that you said, Nana, before I go to the questions that I thought was a good transition. It was either you or Miss Nixon, but Ed Buck might get out of jail next Friday. And that is really troubling. I've heard from a lot of his victims, that are not, some of them who are in LA still, some of them who are not in LA, but you know, we have that email thing, so we keep in touch. And nobody's feeling safe about Ed Buck getting out. People
Right.
feel like he may be vindictive against them. I've heard from neighbors of his that are worried. Even though I'm telling the neighbors he ain't coming back there, shit, he done got evicted. I mean, he ain't coming there. What I'm saying? But there is still a possibility. And you know, I remember, I think I mentioned this when I first talked to you about it, Nana, and I think you were just like, yeah, that could happen. You're just, yeah. Remember?
Yeah. I mean, look, the thing is that Ed Buck is Ed Buck, and he gonna do what Ed Buck does. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is, you know, I always get on Jasmine's nerves by announcing the fact that I'm an abolitionist. I am an abolitionist. I want there to be no jails, no prisons, no cops.
She the only one in this conversation.
I'm the only one in this conversation. But I also am very clear that what that requires is a type of community accountability that is very difficult to put together, and really difficult to put together in this situation, because when these people say that they're going to have him on house arrest, I don't know if they're not paying attention. That's where he kills people.
Absolutely.
He's not going
sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you telling him you don't ever get to leave your house, that's not a problem for him. Like, I don't understand why they think he's going to be like, oh my God, he don't want to leave the house.
Mhm.
You don't want to leave the house. And we don't know where he lives anymore, right? So it's not like, you know, maybe if this had happened earlier when he still had his apartment, and we could just be like, occupy Ed Buck, you know what I mean? And we're just in front of his house, and we have signs, and we're passing out flyers and
Right.
doing those kinds of things. And so even with respect, you know, I'm challenging my own self, and that's another conversation, but I'm challenging my own self to say, okay, if he gets out, if you know, I'm a bail reform person. If we have bail and he gets out, what can you think of to make the community safe in spite of that? And I can't think of anything off the top of my head. You know what I mean? It's like I'm thinking and I'm trying to imagine there's things that the system could do that could allow us to hold him accountable, like tell us where the hell he's going to be and etc. But I know that they're not going to do that, right? And so it's really important for those folks who are not abolitionists like me, do what you got to do. And then for folks who are abolitionists like me, we've got to think about, okay, what does that mean? And what do we do in order to make sure that a person like Ed Buck just can't wreak havoc on the community? Because, you know, he will wreak havoc on the community.
He most certainly will. And I'm going to try to get to some of these questions. I am putting in the chat the link for the petition for people who haven't signed it, or people who have signed it and want to share it with people. You can just go to nobailforedbuck.com. I made it nice and simple for you. You can go to, it could be the number 4, it could be the word 4. nobailforedbuck.com. Very simple. There you go. The first person to have their hand up was George Courtney. George, are you there? Hello?
George is on mute.
Okay, I just asked him to unmute.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, what's your question?
No, I'm just putting a thanks for bringing helping him bring everybody to justice.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm gonna do this like I do my radio call-ins. Okay, we're gonna do it. Caller, where you calling from? What's your question or comment? All right, Robert Pepe, where you calling from? And what is your comment or question?
I'm calling from Silver Lake, and I was shocked by the article, what a light treatment the journalist gave to the horrible behavior of Villanueva's police force and Jackie Lacey's offices. And I don't know, maybe I'm off on that, but if you could comment on if I'm way off base and they were treated fairly or not. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, let's talk about Jackie Lacey, who still ain't charged Ed Buck in the death of Gemmel Moore or Timothy Dean. She really hasn't charged him with much of anything at all. She's the one Black woman in this story that, I just can't say anything nice about.
So was in that press
I concur.
conference perpetrating.
I know. Because she's trying to hold on to that job. I told you, she is trying to hold on for dear life to that job. My window sign at home, I got a yard sign that say, bye-bye, Jackie Lacey. Or no, it says Jackie Lacey must go.
Let's go.
Everybody that come to my house or drive past, that's a person there that don't support Jackie Lacey. That's exactly right. I went so far as to make sure I had a yard sign that says so. But again, Robert makes a really good point. I mean, I don't know how long the article was, but it was pretty long. And in all of that, you couldn't find any, you couldn't, yeah, I don't know.
And there are parts that seemed fake. Like I couldn't understand, when he has that part where he says that when they brought Gemmel out of the apartment and the brother started walking up and they were like, move along, or no, the store is closed. I'm like, where did you get that from? You know what I mean? So again, it's like even the sheriffs, he tried to humanize and give them some sort of like TV personalities, you know what I mean?
That's horrible.
Right, because
despicable.
Either he made that up or he talked to some sheriffs, right?
Right. But it's like clearly he thinks that's something that's cool to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I agree with you, Robert. In other words, I think that light is a kind term in terms of the way that he described the sheriffs and in terms of the way that he described Jackie Lacey. Like he didn't push back at all at the idea that she did not have enough to prosecute. And we all know she had enough to prosecute. She didn't have anything different than what the feds had, and they prosecuted. And certainly nothing different than a bunch of my cases that Jasmine knows about, where they have hella less. And we got to go all the way through trial to prove that that Black person did not commit crime. So give me a break.
Yeah.
Really.
Well said.
Not to mention all the people we brought.
Yeah, the petitions when we went down to her office with Color of Change. But let me tell you this. Don't worry, because this Black journalist, this Black woman will write that whole story. I will make sure that our story is told. It will be told on film, television, and in books.
Yes.
I cannot depend on other people. I cannot depend on other people to do that, right? And it's not a story. And again, it's not just about the people you see on the screen. There are so many people that did so many things, so many unsung heroes, people who had to do things behind the scenes so they wouldn't lose their job, but made sure we knew about certain things that was going on. I still give it up to my girl, Lindsay Horvath, Mayor Horvath in West Hollywood, for the things that she has done. There's been a lot of people, including, like I said, Roland Martin, who is live streaming us right now.
Thank you, Roland Martin.
Thank you, Roland Martin.
We appreciate you.
Definitely.
We've had a lot of help, and it's going to be a great story when it's told. I just wish that the New York Times article would have told a little bit more of it. And again, I'm still not really sure why Ryan made that article. It is beyond me. I know that picture in there. I know that.
I was like, really?
He's not my boy. I do not care for Ryan. No, I don't. But Will, you have something to say? I already know where you're calling from, but go ahead.
Hey, what's up? It's Wes. It's so good to see all of you through this fucking pandemic and stuff. And Jasmine, you're so right. Like, the real story here is that was not in the article at all, was like all the work that you have done and the grassroots shit that we are all doing and continue to stay in solidarity with y'all. And the guy who, I want to uplift the guy who shared his anonymous story, because he really put his life out there, and that was like the only redeemable part of the article. And I know Jesse might listen to this, and I can't mince my words. Like, the article overall felt like a cleanup job, and it's like a waste of all of our time that, like, it gave him interviews or whatever. That's all I have to say, and I'm like there with you through this next phase.
And I just want to say, Wes,
thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Wes does a lot of work with SWAP, which is Sex Workers Outreach Project, and I think it's SWAP LA, so it's the Sex Workers Outreach Project of LA, which is another important aspect of this story, right? Because, you know, as I've always told people, there are so many. This story, it's from politics to class to race to issues around sex. I mean, there's just, is the one, you know, Ed Buck, he's like the trifecta, you know what I'm saying? Just in terms of all of these different social issues that just converge, right? Because of him. And Wes, thank you so much for the work that you do. Wes reminded me of something that I really wanted to make sure that I talked about. John Duran.
Yeah,
somehow,
he was making John Duran seem like that was ridiculous.
Somehow, Jesse did not understand that John Duran is Ed Buck's BFF, and that John Duran represented him as his attorney.
And what did John Duran say when Ms. Nixon was like, please come forward? If you have had any issues? John Duran said, oh, be careful if you do that. You might go to jail. You might get arrested. He literally said words to cause people to not come forward.
Yeah.
Which made it even more important for us to get those immunity letters. It was like after that we realized, dang, okay, we're gonna have to take it to the next level, because people have now been told that if they come forward by John Durant, if they come forward, he'll be, they'll be arrested.
He was the mayor, I think, at that time.
He was the mayor.
Like he was the mayor.
He was the mayor.
Well, he was the mayor or the city council member. He's a sitting city council member who also happens to be a criminal defense attorney, who also happens to be Ed Buck's best friend, who also happens to act as Ed Buck's cleanup person. And in the article, he just comes off as like completely opposite to who he really is. And I'm going to stop and take this one moment right now to say, if you live in West Hollywood and you are watching this, do not vote to reelect John Duran in November. You have a whole bunch of other choices to choose from, but John Duran should not be one of them. Thank you very much. Okay.
That was awesome.
I'm sorry, I had to get that out. Because the man, I could not believe that the man came off in that article like he was like,
well, it's like almost as bad as when he has the people talking about how Ed Buck was like Martin Luther King Jr. and just loved that. I was like, what is going on here? I'm like, the King family needs to see
Are you
you.
serious?
Yes,
That's
it's in the
horrible.
article.
Well,
He's
you
like,
know, I told you what I think is going on. And Jesse, if you watching this, I know you're going to be super mad at me for saying this, and we can talk later offline about this comment that I'm going to make. But I do believe that Jesse might be angling to get an interview with Ed Buck. And so the article was done in such a way that it maybe wouldn't completely piss Ed Buck off, and Jesse might get that interview with Ed Buck. I don't know. I just have this feeling like maybe that's what's going on. Jesse's gonna tell me if I'm wrong or right. I'm sure he'll text me, call me later. I will answer that call. But I just felt like there was an awful lot of effort put into Ed Buck being like a someone people should care about or something, and not enough, and not enough in terms of his victims, right? And again, that's why I am so committed. I'm so committed to telling this story. You know, people think, I don't know, I'm talking to a bunch of Black women, so y'all can nod and amen or tell me if I'm wrong. But people, when you're a Black woman, you know, you are always discounted. People don't think you have the skills to do things. They question you all the time. I remember one time Nana said to a reporter, I forgot what it was, Nana, but do you remember the reporter was like, if they couldn't believe, oh, you had gotten the thing to make Charlie Beck come to court.
Yeah,
remember,
I got a warrant. I got a warrant on Charlie Beck,
the
chief of police, for 24 hours. I was so proud of myself.
Yeah, and it was a big deal. And so I think I had sent out the press release or the media advisory so folks would come to court. And didn't you say like somebody called you and they were like, is this true? And you said to them, does Jasmine have a reputation for lying?
I was like, didn't I come to you from Jasmyne Cannick? Okay. So where is the questioning coming from?
Send out a media advisory saying that you have a warrant for Chief Beck to appear in court and you don't. But again, as a Black woman, so I always get that, even just in people trying, well, how do we describe you? They just want to whittle me down to community activist. That's what everybody's favorite title is for me. I can't be a journalist because I don't work for ABC or the LA Times or NBC. And, you know, no one takes the Black press seriously, right? And I can't be a filmmaker, even though I produced several documentaries and worked on several TV shows. And I can't be a political strategist because I'm not white. So it's like, just as a Black woman, like that's all of that is what I carried into reading that article, which is why I was even more disappointed. I was just like, so on Sunday, all these people are gonna read this article and they're gonna think I'm just a bitch. They're gonna think I'm just a bitch who does not know what she is talking about. And I'm just like, man, that really sucks, because this could have been such a great, I mean, I just think in our lives, right? Because, you know, Nana and I, for example, you know, we're here in LA trying to make names for ourselves, doing the good, fighting the good fight, doing the Lord's work, okay? And so when we get press, we don't need bad press. We need good press.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know, the people might take pity on us and say, let us hire them Black girls, or let us, you know, have them come and speak at our organization or our event or something. And I just think people are gonna read that article that one, they not even gonna know who the hell you are, Nana. Two, they don't think I'm just
They're not. They're not. My name is in there in a sentence. It doesn't even get repeated. It's like Nana Gyamfi and Hussein Turk. I love Hussein, and that's it. I was like, oh damn, all that work I did.
That is so, I'm still taking questions. So if any of you guys have any questions, raise your hand or drop them in the Q&A, and I will, if you raise your hand, I'll bring you on. But I don't see anybody with their hands raised right now, so I haven't brought anybody on.
So there's people asking questions in the chat too, but I wanted to say that, see, for me, I think that the part with respect to you, I just think was pettiness. It just was a jealousy, and he'll be okay. You know what I mean? Like how he ended the article, trying to, you know, act like, and then I was able to peek and see some stuff.
Oh, girl, don't
didn't want me to see.
That was
crazy.
crazy.
Like, what the heck? What is happening here?
So that was, I don't.
Yeah, that was
Did,
Oh,
jacked
he's
up.
just crooked.
Miss Joann, did we talk about this before we did talk about this before
Yes.
okay, so now we got to really talk about, because we talked about this before. That was white privilege.
Yes.
To have the audacity
Absolutely.
to read something that you were asked not to read, to do it anyway,
and then publish it, and then publish
Yes.
it,
Well,
and
so
then publish it. But you know, it's a core value issue. It goes to his core values. But it goes because things happen all the time where you're in a room. All of us have been in this situation where we have had the opportunity to have access to see something, to hear something that someone tells us, hey, don't do that. I'm going to do this and that for you, but don't come into the other rooms. You know what I mean? I don't care if it's because you got a house full of clutter and you're like, stay in this room and get in the bathroom and don't go there. You know what I mean? We all have had situations, and we don't even imagine ourselves going where we were told, don't go there.
Right.
Right.
What we were told, don't read that.
It was sleazy and tacky.
Yeah. We hear something that we know we're not supposed to hear. We damn near fold our ears. Ears don't even have muscles. We fold our ears and like walk away and turn our heads, right? Because we're like, oops.
And you can thank that is something that we learned from Black mamas and Black grandmamas at a very early age.
That is so true.
As a matter of fact, when grown folks are talking, you politely exited the room.
That is that's correct.
Okay, and even now sometimes I'll be around my elders. Do I need to leave the room because y'all talking? Okay. But yeah, I really did not like that, and I did talk to Jesse about it, and I know he feels another way about it. I think from his point of view, he thinks that he was doing a good thing. I just think it showed a lack of respect for me, for Ms. Nixon, and for Gemmel.
I agree.
It did.
Because it's white privilege. It's a white privilege to say, oh, don't worry that I have violated you, because I did it for a good reason. Yeah. It's going to turn out best in the end. It's like, no, that was a violation, straight violation of people's privacy.
Absolutely.
A violation of trust. And for you to decide as a white man that that's okay and it's not a problem is like the height of privilege, white supremacy, anti-blackness.
I agree.
Patriarchy, because he would not have done that to a dude and think that he could write that. He would know that dude would be in his face tomorrow.
Look, Nana, you can attest to this. There are many secrets that I know and keep. And I can tell you that when I was focusing on writing about the LAPD, I think I did that for about 5 years. There were many, many things that were shared with me in confidence, things that were told to me. And sometimes it would be like, I'm telling you this, but you can't write about it. But I'm just giving it to you for context. And I never, ever, ever went back on that. Like I never had to have anybody come to me and say, I told you not to write that, or I told you not to say that, because I respected the risk that people were taking and talking to me and getting me these stories. And so I would never do that. Like I never gave up any of my sources. Like I just wouldn't do that. And so like I said, I know he feels another way. Hopefully in him watching this conversation and hearing us, he'll understand what was so wrong about that. Because that was wrong, and it just, we always, Ms. Nixon, said, these are the pages that you can publish from his journal. Like, and the other stuff that was in his journal is his business, and it was private, and it's not supposed to be, even if it sounds nice and it might make the reader weepy-eyed, or it might make the reader think, oh my God, it was not to be shared.
Right.
And it wasn't that you didn't know that, Jesse, because I told you that. And even though you made me come off as some bitch that was holding on to the book like, I was not, okay? I was entrusted with it, okay? Look, to be quite honest with you, we lucky we got the shit back from the sheriffs, okay? Because remember that the sheriffs came to me and asked me for it, and that was one of the things. I said, well, you can have it. Although remember, they had it to begin with, but they just never bothered to look in
That
Gemmel's
part.
belongings because they didn't care. He was just another overdose to them. And then after I wrote about it and published it, then they come knocking talking about, oh, we need to see this. We need to read this. And it was like, okay, you can, because we thinking they're going to help us, you know, get Ed Buck into jail. That's a whole nother story. But luckily they ended up giving back the book. Now, Nana can attest, that don't always happen with evidence and things. You give things back.
No, and especially if they think it's going to say something about them. But you know,
Don't forget, Nana, you got to
query-
get the phones back from them before I forget. They still got all the phones.
Oh Lord. Okay, put that on my list, please.
Okay.
Query whether or not he would have done the same thing to Nicole Simpson Brown's diary.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
If he had felt like that was cool, and maybe because patriarchy is terrible, they don't care about white women either.
Okay, Jesse texts me and he wants me to say, or I don't know if he wants me to say this, but I'm just gonna say it. He said that Jesse. Oh, he said I can say it. He said this point you're making, it makes a lot of sense to me, and I'm sorry.
You're not sorry. You're trash.
I think he is.
Look at Joyce.
I don't think he is. And that's my
See, Jesse, I'm the only abolitionist in this group. Everyone else is ready to shame, blame, punish, and jail. So, Miss
Absolutely. I concur. I concur.
I think Jesse's been through the ringer. I can tell you that two of my dearest friends in the whole world called me this morning. One was Keith Boykin. He called me from New York, and the first thing he said to me was, well, how do you feel about this article?
Yeah, because he would suck.
Because people who know me are like, well, she ain't tweeted about it. She ain't posted.
Hey.
He said nothing. And I had a long conversation with him, and then my dear brother Maurice Franklin, who Dr. Franklin, who is also our mutual friend. So my New Yorkers have been hitting me up about this, and I'm sure you guys are going to be hit up, particularly on or after Sunday, because you know people love to get their New York Times Sunday paper.
They're not going to hit. I'm not going to be hit up at all.
You're not going to be hit up.
No, because I'm not even in the article, so no one's going to get me.
I'm sorry, Nana.
Jesse
But
was
you know
born
what?
though.
I would rather be in your position than to be the bitch. Okay, I would rather be in your position than to come off looking like some over controlling bitch, which is what I feel like I came off looking like. And you know what's amazing to me is that white women can be over controlling. White women can be in power and sure of themselves and know what they're doing, and they don't get that label. They don't get characterized like that.
No. They're not angry.
But I guess I stepped out of I stepped out of place. I was too, I got to stop reading them Toni Morrison poems and things and books and stuff. I got to stop feeling, I got to stop feeling myself and being so blackety black and go back to what they want, I guess, which is like these meek black women who we stay in our place or whatever. But
no, don't ever do that. Don't ever go back. Don't ever do that.
That ain't gonna happen.
That ain't gonna ever happen. That was really just a joke.
Jesse was warned though. You told him before he published that article. You already told him he was gonna have to deal with us.
I did say that because
I don't know what ringer he has gone through, but trust me, he has not gone through the real ringer that I want to put him through.
I think he got the message,
you
ladies.
You have to talk to Miss Joyce. You are going to have to talk to Miss Joyce. Like he needs to talk to all of you guys. I mean, he called me. I didn't call him because I was under the impression that I probably shouldn't talk to him when I'm angry or whatever, because you say things in the heat of the moment. You want to just think about it, but we ended up talking earlier, and I think I talked to him yesterday. I think we texted today. And look, you know, it is what it is. Like I told Jesse, there's nothing I can do about it now. Like,
Right.
it's going to come out and it is what it is. And, you know, people are going to walk away from the article thinking I'm great, or they're going to walk away thinking I'm a bitch. They're going to walk away either thinking Gemmel was horrible or that Gemmel was a human being and have some empathy for him. The same thing with Timothy. You know, Ed Buck, I don't feel like the full magnitude of that man was captured in that article.
Right.
It was.
But I do want to say this. There are some people asking about the bail situation and what to do to help. I know Nana is still thinking about it. It's very hard for her because she don't believe in certain things. It is not hard for me. Sign the petition, share the petition. He has court on Friday, and you know, next Friday, and you know, we'll just have to see what happens, because you know, if he gets out, you know, I have an idea of some people who I think would let him come live with them. I sure do. I think there's somebody on the West Hollywood City Council that would open up the front door and the guest room to him.
Right. Or maybe he'll stay with Seymour.
Oh, maybe he will stay with Seymour. That, you know, maybe he could stay with Darden.
I doubt that.
Since you stay with Chris Darden, shit.
Yeah, he is like Martin Luther King.
But look, this is the shit right here. Look,
looks like we got some Q&As.
Huh?
Do we have Q&As down there?
No, we did. One of them, I just did. One was Mayor Horvath asking what to do in addition to signing a petition. And the other one was Wes, but then we brought Wes on, so I didn't read it. But again, if you have questions, folks, drop it in the Q&A or raise your hand and I'll bring you on. I do want to say this. Gum disease and a heart issue is not what is he claiming? Age and COVID is not a good reason to let Ed Buck out of jail. He just needs to brush his teeth and floss and not do the things in jail that would excite him. Why are you laughing? Like, you know exactly what I mean, Nana. He needs to not exert himself while in jail and keep, you know, brush, floss, use some mouthwash. But putting on paper that you got gum disease and a heart issue is the reason why we should let you out. No, you are a walking public health crisis. Okay?
It's a walking public health crisis.
Wherever you go, people die. Wherever you go, you know, let me be crystal clear. Wherever you go, Black people die.
Well, and no, even worse, when you stay at your house, Black people die. Like, this is the thing. At least if he was going somewhere, we can keep him from going out.
Right.
He don't need to go out to do what he does, you know? It is a very, and it's also just amazing in this context. And I could talk about it in this context without violating my own core values. You know, some of us, like myself, are steady trying to get people out of jail. In particular, Black people, in particular, older Black people, in particular, women who are pregnant, in particular, right? These are people who, like Ed Buck, haven't been convicted yet, etc. And it's like so difficult to do. And these are not people where people are dead. You follow me?
Right.
It's just like petty theft, and you got into a fight because you drank too much on a hot day, and they're like, nope, gotta stay in there. You know, and so that's the part that if Ed Buck was Black, Christopher Darden and Ludlow would not even imagine making this request, because they would know that the answer would be hell to the
correct.
Okay,
Correct.
so the only reason they can even be in this position is because he's white
privilege.
is because he has money. So he has $3.5 million liquid assets, soon to be drained by the time we get this lawsuit done. But anyway,
at least, Nana, we don't know that.
Right, that's what the court knows about. So you know it's more than that, right? And so they can put in writing. I've never put in writing. I've been practicing law for 26 years. My clients are Black. And my clients are different classes in terms of economic, but mainly working class and impoverished, right? I ain't had a millionaire yet. I have never been able to put in a bail request. My client has $400,000 he can put up.
Okay.
If the bail is $40,000, we done. You follow what I'm saying? You raise your
Yeah.
hand, you have $40,000. $400,000, and federal court, you got to put it all up. So this man has $400,000 that he can put up to get out. And so again, even within the context of bail, right? In my brain, until abolition comes, even within the context of bail, it's like he is another one of those examples of the stark difference between the way that Black, impoverished, working class, and all of us on here are working class, okay? We got to work.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, the difference in the way that we are treated by this system and the way that he gets to be treated is probably one of the first times that Christopher or Ludlow has ever in their life said, I got a client that can put up $400,000 and he a white boy, he actually could get out because of the way the system is set up.
Yeah.
They treat
So
it.
it's not fair for him
doubt.
to get out. And then for other people that are in there for lesser stuff, you know, some of whom didn't even do what they're accused of, it's not fair for them to have to stay in and for him to be able to get out just because he's white and he has money. Because they got elders in there. I've represented elders who have been drug addicted, who end up in jail. Don't nobody let them out because of COVID. Those jails are not empty. In fact, they still putting Black people in jail during COVID. You know what I'm saying? So that's the piece that I can talk about within my core values in terms of that difference and the racial justice issue there.
Yeah, it is. A lot of people are asking about what are our next steps and what are our next actions, and you know, it's hard to say. I mean, I know that we're going to continue to push around no bail for Ed Buck. And if he should get bail, we'll have to come back to the drawing board and figure out what the next steps are there. But remember, we have a trial in January. We have families that we're going to be supporting coming to LA who are going to have to stay here for however long that trial is. So we're going to continue to like have fundraisers and raise money and just make sure, because we can't be too sure that the federal government is going to come through with those plane tickets and hotel costs, right? So we have to do it for ourselves, because if we don't, then we'll be letting these families down. So we'll be doing that work. Nana is still pressing forward on the civil wrongful death lawsuits that are filed against him. And I think for everybody, including Ed Buck's victims and Gemmel and Timothy's friends, I think what would really be helpful is that you talk about this case, and that you talk about it from the right point of view with people. Not enough people know about this case. There are still people saying that they don't even know who Ed Buck is. They had never heard of Ed Buck. There will be a lot of people who open the Sunday Times and they're like, I never heard of this Ed Buck, which I think was, even though I don't agree with it, I think that was part of Jesse's thinking when he was trying to downplay him being a major political donor or whatever. Because he's not like a Soros, like some national name or something, right? So I think if you can talk about it, if you can share the story, if you can, when I say story, I don't mean the New York Times story. I just mean the story of what happened.
Be clear. You can go to Jasmyne's website and find stories there. You can go to justiceforgemmel.org.
Go to justiceforgemmel.org if you want all the details. Sign up for the email list. That's always good, because we do keep everybody updated. I mean, we are a really transparent group of people. We let everyone know what's going on and when it's going on. Like there's nothing to hide on this end. I mean, it's just that the wheels of justice don't turn quickly or fast, and so particularly when it's a Black person involved. And so It will take some time, and we just need folks to just support us and support folks who I still think there are people who are going to still pop out the woodworks in terms of his victims. I mean, he had been doing this for so long, for so many decades.
Yes.
There are so many people who have been affected by Ed Buck, people who I know personally just have not had the strength or the they don't want to. There are people I know now who could come forward that won't come forward because they can't
Probably
right
too
now.
much
It's
for
not.
them.
It's too much for them, right?
Yeah.
But I still
Yeah.
believe that there are other people, and that's why I think the more that we talk about this story and we
Right.
share it, hopefully
Yes.
the more we can find additional victims. As everybody should know by now, 4 additional felonies were filed against him 2 weeks ago, bringing the total number of federal charges to 9. Where you at, Jackie
Wow.
Lacey? Where you at, Jackie
Wow.
Lacey? Right. But it's like where Jackie Lacey at, right?
Okay.
But that's the feds, okay? And I never thought I'd be championing the feds. I mean, it doesn't even sound right coming out of my mouth, but thank you.
Thank you.
So, but more charges can be filed, right? There's no statute of limitations on murder. So if certain evidence were to come forward, there's just talk about it, share it, particularly the folks here in LA County, which was his playground, because we do want to make sure that when the trial happens in January, that Ed Buck, I mean, I can speak for at least 3 other women on this call that we want to make sure that Ed Buck goes to prison for the rest of his life.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
forever.
Yes.
Definitely. Definitely.
I just want to add another piece that I think is important,
Okay.
which is that it's also really important for the reason that Ed Buck could do what Ed Buck did is because we have a gap in how we take care of each other.
Mhm.
And who we decide as Black people is worthy of our attention and not our attention, who's worthy of our love, who we decide is human and not human. And I think that we also need to remember that part, that there are other Ed Bucks, that there have been Ed Bucks before Ed Buck, that there are Ed Bucks during Ed Buck, and there are Ed Bucks now. They just haven't been caught yet, right?
Right.
The sheriff's still protecting them, LAPD still protecting them, whoever, Hollywood, Hawthorne, wherever they are, they're still being protected. And this is, when people would go to Ed Buck, no one has told us, we went to Ed Buck because we were so in love with Ed Buck.
No.
We just thought he was so fabulous.
Right.
Everyone was going for survival reasons.
Yeah.
And they should be able to look to us. Our community members should be able to look to us for their needs, right?
Yeah.
And so to the degree that we can press to have monies go from the cities, people talking about defund and invest, right? Putting monies into mental health, putting monies into housing, putting monies into, addiction assistance, putting monies into those places. That's great, but we don't have to wait for that because we might be waiting forever.
That's
We
right.
have the capacity as community to decide that we're going to take care of our people,
Our own,
we're going to look out for our people, and that we're going to, and so sharing, so part of it is how we deal with one another, but that's also the safety that sharing what has happened gives for us, right? It lets people know that this is a clear and present danger that continues to be out here. And you don't have to be dumb to fall for this. You don't
That's
have
right.
to be, desperate, like feeling desperation to fall for an Ed Buck, right? You just have to need. And so many of us are just in need, right? And so we need to know that we can turn to each other and not have to turn to a predator.
Right.
I agree. And I just
well said.
You very, very well said. You made me think of something, Nana, when you said people should be able to turn to their communities. I said before that there are a lot of people that have helped us and work and continue to work with us, Jerome and Devon and just different people. that I want to lift up. And there are a lot of young Black gay men who have stepped up and are, because they know this is a problem in their community, right? I know you're looking at us and you're like, oh, these Black, let me tell you, I'm gonna pull the car over for 1 minute. If I get one more email from somebody telling me that it is amazing that as a Black straight woman, I care about Black gay men, I am gonna fucking scream. I am not a Black straight woman, okay? I'm a lesbian. Not that I gotta walk around and say that, but you know, they look at us and they see these what's the word? Because I don't do all that shit. What is the word? Cis-identified, cis.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
cisgender, yes.
They see me.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess I'm a Black cisgendered woman, and they just assume that I'm heterosexual. Okay, it doesn't really matter what our sexual orientation or identities are. The bottom line was that we cared, you know, but just for the record, I am a part of the LGBTQIA plus community. But there are young Black men here, particularly. That's right. There are people in the community here, particularly in Los Angeles, that are helping out and doing their part. This is, like I said, this is like Nana said, there are many ed bucks. This is a issue that is not over and something that's near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. So I just want you to know, like, don't think, oh, these, you know, Black women are, you know, whatever. No, we are also working with the Black LGBTQ community, and we are working with young Black gay men. But again, you have to want to do this work, and this work ain't for everybody. And some people, you know, don't know how to do this work or just aren't there yet to get involved in it, but it doesn't mean that they don't care, and we know that.
Or don't have the capacity. Some people just don't have the capacity. Jasmine and I didn't start yesterday, so we built to this, you know what I'm saying? And so we see some of those brothers, and we can see that they're building to this too, you know what I mean? But we don't expect anyone to just jump out and suddenly be in this space. That's not how it works.
Right.
But if you want to get involved and you want to volunteer or you want to help on this, again, go to Justice for Gemmel. It's justice, the number 4, Gemmel.org. The reason why it's justiceforgemmel.org is because in the beginning, when we started this, Gemmel Moore was the only person who had died. So the group is, the official name is Justice for Gemmel and all of EdBuck's victims, because EdBuck has a lot of victims. But the website is justiceforgemmel.org. You can sign up to volunteer. You can sign up for the email list. You can send us emails, as many people do. But, you know, there's going to be a lot of work to do, particularly in January. We're going to need help with the families, making sure that they're okay while they're here in Los Angeles for the trial, whether that's having them over for dinner, taking them out to dinner, making sure they can get back and forth to the courthouse. These are all things that we're going to have to come together to do for the Nixon and Dean family. So if there's any role that you think you can play in that, let us know, because you know, this trial, you know, Jesse made it seem like this was going to be the trial of the century or something. I don't know how long this trial is going to be. It could be a week, it could be 2 weeks, who knows? But for the time that the families are here, we definitely want to take care of them and make sure that they are received with love, because it's going to be a very hard time for them. Hearing the testimonies, watching Ed Buck sit in court, it's not going to be easy for the families or any of Ed Buck's other victims who come to court. So,
absolutely.
That's my go ahead.
I just want to say that it's okay to go and get mental health. I go see a therapist. I see a psychiatrist. I do all of that, because losing a child is the worst feeling ever. I don't care. You might see me on Facebook playing, laughing, or you might see me smiling, laughing. That's how I cope. But every single day I wake up, I can feel my child not here. I can't feel him. He's not here anymore. I will never get that phone call. I will never get them jokes, you know, and my mind just, I keep thinking of my son's last moment. He spent his last moments with someone who didn't give a fuck about him. He died without love around him. He died, I don't know what his last moments was, but I know they were horrific. And I would have loved to be there as a mother to at least hold his hand and say, baby, you'll be okay. It's all right. But my mind, I think every day, it's not one day goes by, I don't think about my child. Think of them all day, every day. And my heart is broken. But therapy has helped me. A lot of people in our communities, we don't want to go to therapy. You have to do what's best for you.
That's right.
And therapy has helped me. If you're addicted to meth or whatever, get some help. Don't be afraid to tell somebody. Get with somebody. I have a good support system. I'm grateful. I have my sister around me. I have people when I'm in my mood, they know. They can look at me. My best friend, she drove from California because she's like, I got to see your face. You're faking. I'm good at faking. But therapy has helped me. I have a counselor. I talk to her every week. I get in my car sometimes and I just cry because I don't want to display how I feel. I'm a Black woman. We used to being strong. We used to not showing how we feel. You know, I'm a mother. So I have to be strong for my other kids, but I only can be so strong. A strong person needs somebody too. So it's okay to cry. It's okay to, seek therapy. We don't think about therapy or no type of help in our community, So I just want to tell anybody, if you're struggling with anything, seek that help. If I knew Gemmel was addicted to meth, I had no idea. I don't know anything about that. I wasn't around it. I thought meth was something in the hillbilly people did. I didn't know Black people were doing meth. I had no idea. I stay away from all that stuff. But I just want to encourage everybody. You dealing with grief, go get help. I'm tired of seeing my people committing suicide, And to be fair, when my son murdered, he didn't just die. He was murdered. I wanted to die. I wanted to just kill myself. I felt like I failed as a mother. But I have 4 other kids and a host of other kids that I didn't birth, but they're mine. So I just had to just do the best that I could do. But anyhow, go get some help. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I just wanted to say thank everybody in Los Angeles for supporting the Dean family and supporting me and my sister. We really appreciate you guys. We're 3,000 miles away. So you guys are really our eyes and ears. And I just want to thank Jasmine for your support, and Nana. You guys have really been there for us. And we just really appreciate you and all the volunteers that came out and protest. We appreciate you guys and just wanted to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I just want to piggyback on, what my sister said. And I've never lost a son or a daughter, LaTisha, but I don't even want to be in your shoes. It's hard enough to lose any family member, period. But a son or a daughter, I know it's devastating. For myself, it's still devastating because I look forward when I go to LA to be with Tim. That's never going to happen again. So we were robbed. So I look forward to Tim coming home and me cooking for Tim. And we laughing and talking and just all these things that should still be happening. Something kind of funny, for his birthday, we had joint accounts through Bank of America. So whatever year of his birthday, say if it was 54, I had to send him $54. But when my birthday came, and I'm the oldest, he always sent me $20. But he's my baby brother. It is what it is. I'm going to send him the 54 or the 55, but he always would give me $20. And it's so ironic, my brother that's under me, he just turned 60. Well, just give me the $60, but he gave me $20. I'm like, you know what? You just liked him. But it's love. It's nothing but love. And I miss him. I miss his phone calls. I miss his cards that he sent. He was so loving and passionate, and he showed us that. Whether it be Christmas, birthdays, Thanksgiving, Easter. I mean, that was Tim. And I miss those phone calls. I really do. I miss him just dearly. And it's still hard. It's hard. But thank you all for everything that you do each and every day. Because without you all being there, we would totally be lost. And we just thank you. Even though you didn't know him, you make us feel like you've known him as long as you've known us. And we appreciate that from the bottom of our heart. We really do. Thank you, Nana. Thank you, Hussein. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, LaTisha. Now that you're our family, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Miss Joann, Nana.
Nana talked enough during this time.
Okay.
No, here's what I want to say. I do want to say one thing. The goal is $30,000.
Yeah.
That's the goal. We need $30,000 before January because we have to cover costs for the civil case. We have to cover costs for the families before January. And they are banking on us, at least on his side, banking on us not being able to fly folks here. They're banking on us not having the money to be able to fight the civil case. I'm not getting paid this is not one of those where I've charged a retainer. Hussein hasn't charged anything. Jasmine hasn't charged anything, right? So this is not, the 30,000 is not going to us, but we need to be able to have resources to fight this fight. And, you can MacGyver only so long. And we've been doing the MacGyver. We've been taking the coat hanger and turning it into a car and all of that. But now we're down to the nuts and bolts, right? We're down to the brass tacks. And so 30,000 is the goal. We want to have that before this year is out. You all are going to be caught up in election fever. So let's just make it 30,000 by November 2nd so that whoever becomes president of the United States will know that we have the money to do the fighting we need to do, right? And so I'm asking folks to really pay attention, to go, to donate, to share that. If you know folks that got a little more change, lean on them. If you know 1,000 people with the little change, lean on them. But we need that $30,000 to say that we're serious about what we're doing.
What's in there is not, what's showing in the GoFundMe is not in there.
Yeah, no, okay. So people understand I did post the GoFundMe, and thank you, Nana, so much for bringing that up. The money that, I didn't want to start a new GoFundMe, maybe I should have, but that's the same GoFundMe that was started when Gemmel initially died. So that money was used on the funeral and the service and things like that. And then last year, I think it was last year, we raised some more money when we were dealing with Joe Doe. And I'm really grateful to all of you guys who chipped in to help us make sure that Joe Doe was taken care of at that time. And now we're basically at zero, even though it says 14,000. And we really do need to raise that money, because most of the money that we spend it out of our own pocket. We just pay for things and make it happen. But it does cost a lot of money to file these suits, and we do want to make sure the families are taken care of and can get here for the trial. So, Miss Joann, did you want to say anything before we close out?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm
good. I love you all so much. I appreciate
We love you too. Thanks so much.
Thank you. I appreciate Jesse for being on here and watching and hearing our criticisms. I know that can't be easy as a writer, because I'm a writer too. And like Erykah Badu, what did Erykah Badu say? I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. I am the same way about my
I know that's right. I know that's right.
I know that was not easy for you to hear, but I commend you for listening to us and hearing where we were coming from. And like I told you before, offline, let's continue to talk. But I think we all feel better a little bit that we were able to get that off
Absolutely.
of our chest. And,
I do.
Yeah. And I just want to also just say thank you to everybody who hung in there and watched this with us and shared it and has supported us. All the people who are a part of our group that aren't on here, all of Gemmel's friends, all of Timothy's friends, you know, all of the volunteers like Devon and Jerome. And I
Yeah.
can go on and on and on.
Thank
Thank
God.
you, Lindsay.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody who has been supportive. And of course, thank you, Roland. We love you, love you, love you.
Thank
And
you,
I want to give
Roland.
I'm gonna give a special shout out to the LA Sentinel, because the LA Sentinel from day one has been on this story, has not dropped this story,
Yes,
and
thank you so
consistently
much.
keeps it on the
Yeah.
front page of the paper here in Los Angeles for our Black community. And I love Danny Bakewell and Brandon and the Sentinel family. Thank you so much. Hey, everybody, this will be up on Facebook, and it will be up on the Justice for Gemmel website afterwards. I'll make sure so you can share it and other people can watch it who didn't get a chance to watch it while we were on. Okay? Good night,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Good night.
Thank you, LA.
Everybody.
Good night, everybody. Good. Stay safe,
Bye,
LaTisha. Love you.
Bye.
See you soon. Good night.